The public perception of Jadon Sancho has gone from loved and understood to mocked and scrutinised within a week. Let's talk about it. Now, I do want to disclaim with one thing. This video involves a lot of topics around mental health, and I need to say this one thing here. Jadon Sancho has become a symbol of men's mental health in football in the last year, and that is why saying this will come across as really harsh. However, I do believe in your own actions, and I do believe that you can constructively criticize someone and not be demonized for doing it. This situation is sad, and it has a very simple answer. You can go back on my 2 Jadon Sancho videos that I've been backing him the entire way. My first video about him back in December last year, where Ten Hag allowed Sancho to have a month or 2 off when he was not called up to the England World Cup squad. He went all black on social media and clearly was going through a bit of a tough time. So Ten Hag allowed him to have time off, and when everyone came back, Sancho didn't, and he had time to sort himself out. Clearly he was going through something, and we will never fully know what happened until he comes out himself. However, I respected Ten Hag, and I also respected Sancho as well, because when he came back and he scored versus Leeds, I was celebrating. I was cheering Sancho on, and I actually enjoyed what happened there. I thought Ten Hag had great man management and clearly saw a very delicate situation and dealt with it accordingly. That is what I think. In the last week, what should have been a simple conversation behind closed doors has blown up out of complete proportion, and I believe that Jadon Sancho is doing a disservice to himself in the way that he appears to represent himself in this current situation. The title is that Jadon Sancho is delusional, and this is why. But first, tell me your thoughts down below in the comments about your thoughts on this entire situation. I had no intention of doing a video on this. However, I've never seen a player manager situation blow up in this way, in the manner that it has, in a long time. I think this is very unique, and I think this is a very topical thing that I actually have a lot of thoughts about. So if I care about something, I'll talk about it. So yeah, if you can hit 5,000 likes, then that'd be fantastic. It means a lot. And also subscribe if you're new. And Sancho for 15% off the best football prints on the market. mazzoladesigns.co.uk, my own design company. Link is at the top of the description. And let's go. So why is Jadon Sancho delusional? Let me lay it all out on a table here. The current situation is that Ten Hag and Sancho has had a bit of a back and forth in the last year, and clearly Ten Hag has had question marks over either the ability or the effort that he has seen in training or in games. Sancho has not been in the best of form at Manchester United. He's not been awful. His stats are not disastrous. However, you would expect maybe a little bit better with the money that was spent. However, that is not his fault, and that is important to remember. He is still a relatively young player at the age of 23. Now, Sancho in pre-season played a good length of the games, and he had an okay pre-season, but didn't do amazing. But to be fair, neither did many of the Manchester United players. Start of the year, he was simply a bench player, didn't start any games and got given around 20 or so minutes. This all blew up after Manchester United lost at the Emirates Stadium against Arsenal, and this happened. A journalist said Sancho and McTominay weren't here, or they injured as well, in which Ten Hag replied saying no, Scott is ill, and Jadon, based on his performances in training, we did not select him, in which he added, you have to reach a certain level every day at Manchester United, and we can make choices on the front line, and for this game, he was not selected. Now, when this first came out, I said that, look, Ten Hag, even though he's the manager, did he have to say this publicly? Probably not. However, context is important here. There is a history of Ten Hag protecting Sancho in the past and giving him time to collect himself and to give him time to be away from the limelight. He's tried the carrot and he's tried the stick, and both ways that he's tried to deal with Jadon Sancho, he's not got the response back that he was expecting or wanting. That is the way that I'm seeing it. By the words that he's saying, he was not selected based on his training performances. To clarify, I don't live at Carrington, neither do you. We don't actually know what has happened on the training pitch. Maybe Jadon Sancho was really poor in training. Maybe he was late, as some reports suggest. Maybe he was amazing and Ten Hag is in the wrong. Either way, we will never fully know the full story. However, what we do know is this: Ten Hag, in his own opinion as the manager, believes that he did not reach the level that is required at Manchester United, in which Sancho replied back with a post on his social medias that lasted for a good couple of days. And I will not go through the entire thing, as you know what is already said. It's already been gone through. However, basically calling the manager a liar. When a player publicly slams the manager, calling him a liar and putting it in a situation that either you believe the player or the manager to the fans, there's only one way this is going to go. Now keep in mind, Manchester United have been known and criticised for many years for having player power being more important than the manager. The players have too much control in deciding a manager will be sacked. They can down tools. They can almost overrule what the manager wanted. You remember the entire leak situation about a year ago, the entire Pogba fiasco, Lingard fiasco. Everything is chaos at Manchester United, and he needed the manager to come in and to actually put some control into the club. And for me, Ten Hag is not doing anything wrong in a situation that what he says goes. I think Manchester United needs this because they've not had this for many years. Player power is nonsense. The manager has the final say, no matter what. Now, again, we do not know, is he actually performing really well on training ground? Maybe he is, maybe he thinks he is, and both can be correct. Jadon Sancho may think that he's performed to the levels that is required, and Ten Hag may also think that he's not. Maybe both have different requirements or different standards. Both could be correct in this instance, and that is important to remember. And now to delve into the title of the video, why do I think Sancho is delusional? He was given an ultimatum. Apologise for what he said, and then they move on. That is reported everywhere. That is the facts. Apologise to the manager for putting him out on blast, and he can play again for Manchester United. And right now, you look at the situation. Of course, Greenwood, we already know what's happening with him. He's not at the club. And now Anthony, within the last week or so as well, going through some allegations, and he will not also be playing for the club. There is a winger problem at the club. They need wingers, and they were looking on the bench and playing youth players or playing Bruno Fernandes as a right winger instead. They have severe problems out wide. Jadon Sancho wants to play for Manchester United, as he says. So simply apologise and you play for Manchester United. Now, what is more important, your pride or your career? If you say in your own post that you will do what is best for Manchester United, then simply do what you have to do to make it work. In my opinion, it doesn't matter if you think you are in the right or not. Soak up your pride and do the best you can for your own club. I'm not even going to go into money, because money doesn't make everyone happy. Money doesn't equal happiness, and I get that completely. But when you're being paid that much money and you are an employee at a club and having a history of previously being given time off while also being paid to sort yourself out, whatever has happened in the background, mentally, people saying he's gone through a lot of mental health issues. We never actually knew the full story of what actually went on and why he went dark on social media for all that time, and no one knew where he was. We don't know, and we may never know until he comes out and says it himself. However, Manchester United needs him, and an apology is the only thing that is separating him and playing for the club again. And what he is doing, I find, is immature and proves the point of Ten Hag exactly. Question: if you work for any workplace, you work at McDonald's, you work at Tesco, you work at a serious business, a professional one, an office space, it doesn't matter. If your manager says to you as an employee that he thinks you're not working as hard, he doesn't think that you've been to the levels that you should be at this job, and you are an employee, if your response to him thinking that you have not reached to the levels expected at that job, if your response is to prove him right by playing FIFA all the time till 3 in the morning and then appearing late for training when someone calls you out and calls out your professionalism, if your response is simply to then be a professional, then what does that prove other than the manager right? If I worked somewhere, and this is again nothing to do with money, this is more to do with your own integrity. If someone says that you are not doing the right thing, you want to prove them wrong, right? You would want to prove them wrong. And you want to be there every day, working hard, want to make sure that you show them that they are wrong. The most powerful thing in the world is to say that you are wrong, and I'll show you that you're wrong. And Sancho has the opportunity to do that. And instead, I'm seeing 7-8 tweets of him playing FIFA. He's playing pro clubs with JCC. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with footballers playing FIFA or playing Warzone. I know many footballers. They play a lot of games because they have so much free time. There's no issue with a footballer playing games. However, in this exact situation where you are Jadon Sancho, in the scrutiny that he is, being called out for being unprofessional, if you're being seen playing FIFA all the time and being late for training, that is stupid. Stupid. And he's delusional if he thinks that he can win any fans over by doing this. And if you think that he's in the right by doing this, then you are immature yourself. This is a simple fact of life. And of course, as reported today, he's now been completely exiled. No longer allowed at the training ground. No longer allowed anywhere towards the club. This is after reportedly the players have demanded Sancho to apologise, almost begging him to apologise to get this done and over with. This is after the fact. Now, of course, is there a chance that maybe he can still apologise and it can all be resolved? Maybe. Maybe there's a chance, but each day that goes by, the less likely that is. And now Sancho has deactivated and blacked out his Instagram again. And I, as I said before, I felt bad for him. I felt bad for him and I supported him and Ten Hag. But after what I've seen in the last week or so, if the line between you and playing for Manchester United in a situation that they need you is to simply soak up your pride and apologise, if you still can't do that, then as a human level, I cannot respect you. Simple as that. Do I think that he's a bad person? No, but I think that he's got a really poor support system around him and someone that's not able to grab him and say, what are you doing? You're playing with your career here. This is the best chance you're going to ever get in your career and you are failing and you are throwing it up a wall. Ten Hag has the right to control the club, which I think is desperately needed at Manchester United. Things like this used to be regarded as a test of character. Clearly Ten Hag, as reported, gave him a chance to do what he needed to do to make himself feel comfortable, and he gave him time. He did that. You cannot deny that. Now, clearly in this situation, he tried something new and tried to get some fire under his belly. Say publicly that he's not been good enough and see his response. And some people will see that as a challenge and say, I'll prove you wrong, and work even harder to prove that person wrong, which is what he probably wanted. But others would do what Sancho did and claim scapegoat, and that is what he decided to do. I remember saying online, saying that, Ten Hag, he gave him the time to recover and to sort himself out, and it gave him 2 months, almost 3 months. That is a lot for a footballer to have in the modern game. And I had someone saying, oh, okay, I see, so all I need to do is just take a month off work and all my mental health issues is solved. And I read that and I was like, what do you want in a situation? Do you want a footballer who's being paid by a football club to play football to be allowed 6 months off? How long? 3, 6, 9, a year off? He's an employee as a football club. If he cannot do his work, then why does a club have to eat the cost of that? Now, of course, I am very much aware that there will be an interview or something coming out in the next couple of weeks that Sancho will go into the problems that he's had, his mental health issues, and I am not denying that. He, of course, obviously has got some issues and he needs a strong support system around him. He needs people right now more than ever, and he's not being advised well. And what I think he's doing is acting out of emotion and not thinking clearly. He's not thinking clearly in the situation and he's digging himself into a hole and he's not got the right people around him to get him out of it. And that for me is the worst part out of all this, because this has such an easy solve. This never should have happened. This situation never should have come up, and if it didn't come up, if he said nothing, if Ten Hag said nothing, then Sancho will be starting for Manchester United week in, week out, and you never know, that could have been the moment for him to make his time there even better, to make it good, to make it worthwhile, but it's not, and it's looking like it's all over, and that's the biggest shame out of all of this. With every passing day that Sancho refuses to reach an understanding with Erik Ten Hag, it only proves how correct Ten Hag's evaluation was. I wish Sancho the best. He's better than this. And right now, I hope that he finds a way out of it. Your actions speak for itself, and it should have consequences. And that is all I need to say about this. I love you all. Subscribe. Peace out. And I'll see you next time.